We'll give it like a minute or so before we get started, and then like actually get started.
Okay.
All right. I guess we can get started now, and then more people just join in as they go.
Yeah, sure.
All right. I guess, Ayush, if you want to introduce yourself a little bit, just like, I don't know, what major you are, what school you go to, what year you are, stuff like that.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. My name's Ayush. I'm a rising junior at Carnegie Mellon University, majoring in math and in computer science. My professional interests are in data science. And yeah, I'll be here for the hour. Answer any questions that you have. Please put them in the chat. Yeah.
Professional at this already. All right. I guess just to get started, we can start with some like stuff about like academics and stuff like that, because I know a lot of people are interested in that type of thing. In terms of, you said you were like a double major. For the majors and stuff at Carnegie Mellon, I know like each college does this differently. How is it sort of structured? Is it like a set like class you have to take, or do you get like sort of choose your own way through them, especially since you're doing two of them?
So generally for each major, there's certain categories which you have to take classes in. There are some classes which are fixed. Those are the core classes. But then for all the electives and the other kinds of classes, there's usually a group of at least like 10 to 12 classes that you can just choose one or two of to take.
Do you get to come in, like, let's say you take like AP class or something like that, do you get to come in and sort of skip some core classes, or are they just like, no, it's Carnegie Mellon, take our core classes again?
It depends a lot on the school. For math and for CS. So for math, I could skip calculus because I had calculus credits. And for CS, I could skip the first core class if you take APCS. For those first introductory core classes, you can usually skip them if you have a 5 on the corresponding AP exam. But you can't really skip more than that. For some schools, I know you can skip a couple more classes. I don't know much of the specifics about those though, but yeah.
Do you have like your typical like social studies, history, language type requirements as well?
Yeah, so math and CS do things very differently. So since I'm a math major primarily, we have this program where we have to take one course in like different kinds of sciences. So we have to take a physics course, a bio course, a chemistry course, and we don't really have to take any of those non-technical electives other than just 2 courses throughout the entire 4 years. We just have to take 2 courses which are not STEM based. For CS, I think it's kind of similar. They don't have you take other kinds of sciences if you don't want to, other than maybe one introductory course in some of them. But there usually are, I think, a couple of like non-technical courses that you have to take in any major.
For us, it's like, oh yeah, you got to have a few like semesters of language. You got to have, you know,
Mm.
your other core requirements, everything like that, and it's
Oh yeah.
rough. It is. Usually people just try to do that over the summer or something like that, because otherwise it takes a
Mm.
long time.
Yeah. So,
Um, I guess in terms of the classes themselves, like I I know like at least for us, our class sizes start off really really large since we're public school, and then they sort of hone down into like maybe 20 people classes once you get to the higher levels. What's
mm.
the sort of typical class size look like for you guys?
For the core classes, there's always going to be at least 100 people in them. Usually multiple lectures, each with like 150 people for like the biggest ones. For the electives, those definitely get smaller. I've been in a class as small as 7, 8 people for some of them. That's not very common, but usually I think not more than 25, 30 for those elective courses.
Are there like a lot of TAs for those sort of like bigger core classes then? Like
Yeah,
are they?
definitely. The like CMU TA program is really nice. They have lots of TAs and they do lots of good work. Um, for the like first introductory core CS class, I think there's like 30 TAs, which is crazy. But they like to have a good TA student ratio for those classes. So
Are the,
it's
are the
helpful.
TAs like also really cracked? Like they're really good at what they're doing?
Yeah, generally. I mean, they have the interview. They have like, I mean, it's basically like applying for a job. That kind of interview. So, yeah, they definitely vet them.
Yeah. I mean, like for us, like at the intro level courses, there are a lot of TAs, but not all of them are the greatest. But once you get like if you have a TA for like niche operating system class number 24, they are going to be probably like the level of like a manager in industry or something like that.
Mm.
It's really nice to see. Um, I guess in terms of some of the classes you've taken, what are like either some Carnegie specific classes that you feel like you won't get anywhere else, or your just favorite classes that you've taken? It doesn't have to be math or CS related, but it can be.
Hmm. That's a good question. I think, I mean, some of the math classes I've taken, I that they are classes you can probably get at other schools, but I just like the way CMU teaches them. There's a numerical methods course, which goes into a lot of like approximation methods and just interesting mathematical things that I just find cool. Um, and it's just an interesting elective I took. Um, Also, for the CS courses in general, like our data structures and algorithms course, I think it's easy to teach that course in a very boring way. And I think our school definitely did not do that. They made it very interesting. They had certain competitions even to see like who could come up with the most optimized version of something. And that I thought was a pretty like engaging way of teaching the course. So
So like the competitions would be between everyone in the class trying to get like the number one solution in
yeah,
for like a.
yeah. Um, it was just for like bragging rights, basically. There was nothing else attached to it, but yeah, it's just fun because it really motivates people to just try to see how they can improve their code. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess since you're a math and a CS major, you might get this less. But some of the sentiment, this is like some of the general sentiment I've gotten from some people I've talked to do CS at CMU
Mm.
say that rather than being like a typical CS curriculum, it's more like a math with a keyboard type curriculum. What are your sort of thoughts on that?
That might be the case. Um, I mean, yeah, there's a lot. It's more conceptual, maybe, and more like mathematical than I think other schools are, because CMU tries to focus more on teaching you how to think about algorithms as opposed to just coding the algorithms and stuff like that. So there definitely is more of a theoretical background that they try to give you. So yeah, but I obviously like that, but I can get why other people don't. Yeah.
What made you choose the math major in the first place? What drew you into that?
I mean, I just liked math. I guess I also liked CS, and I was kind of just choosing between those two. But I ended up during the college application process, I actually got to speak to Dr. Jason Howell. He's one of the math professors at CMU, and I actually had him for a class afterward. Um, And we kind of just talked about some of the specifics of the program, and it just made me excited to go into it and just to see what I could learn there. So that's why I chose math.
Interesting. Do you feel like there's, in terms of like grade wise, if there's any sort of weed out courses at the end of the year, or is it sort of all meant to like sort of build you up as this? Because I know, like, let's say for us, linear algebra is a weed out class, or we like to call it a weed out class because they make it increasingly difficult compared to other classes your freshman year, and then it's sort of to warn you about the rigor of the curriculum. Do you feel like there's sort of weed out courses in the math or CS for you guys as well?
Yeah, there is exactly one in each department. So the math course, it's called Concepts of Math. It's an introduction to proofs, basically. That course is a super huge course, and it's a super hard course. That definitely, it's like a first semester course for math and CS majors. It definitely is a weed out class. Lots of people switch majors at that point if they just can't handle it. Yeah, and for CS, our first, or I guess it would be the second CS class, because most people who are generally good at CS and go into the CS major have AP credit, so they don't take the first class, they just take the second one. That class is definitely also a weed out course. It's an imperative computation course. Yeah, those two courses are very big, and they're meant to be harder. They definitely get easier after that, at least immediately after that. But yeah.
Interesting. In terms of like grade wise, is there like any sort of grade inflation deflation that you see? Like, do people do the curve classes usually, or is it like the grade you get is the grade you get at the end?
I think I think most classes are definitely curved. They also have to be, because else everyone would just fail, just because the tests are made to be hard. They feel like it's a good idea to put harder questions to really try and create distinctions between students, as opposed to making it so that like 3/4 of the class can just get an A, and there's really like no way to tell any difference between them. So they make hard tests and then they curve them a lot. That's generally how it goes. In terms of like grade inflation or such, I don't really know what the statistics are in many cases, but in the few cases I have seen those overall statistics, I think generally teachers aim for 25 to 40% of the class to get an A. I don't know if that's considered inflation or not, but I think that's generally what some of the nicer teachers aim for.
Yeah, that's generally the sort of vibe that we have as well. Although there are some classes where, I'll take an exam, it's like at the 20%, but it still turns out to be an A in the end. And that's what I look for. That's what I hope for.
Yeah.
All right. Someone in the chat just asked, are mathematics and CS under the same school, like sort of college in general?
No. So the CS department is its own school. It's just a school of computer science. The math major is under the Mellon College of Science, which includes 4 sciences: math, physics, bio, and chem. I think back in the day, CS was a part of that, but because it got so big, they just made it into its own department.
Interesting. Hold on. All right. I think we can sort of switch out to the more non-academic side of things, and sort of I'll ask some questions about that. And also, by the way, for anyone wondering, I'm from Georgia Tech, so that's sort of where I'm comparing from. I feel like I should have mentioned at the beginning, but still. Before we switch, someone just asked, does that mean you had applied to both colleges, or did you do one application for a double major?
Yes. So you only apply to one college. And then once you get into that college, you can then apply for a minor or a double major after you've completed a certain amount of the requirements. So for CMU, for the CS major, you have to first apply for the CS minor after you get in and have taken a certain number of courses. And then if they approve that, and then you take enough of the further courses, you can then apply for the CS major, and then that'll be listed. Yep.
That's pretty cool. All right. This topic is pretty controversial. I've seen a lot of different people have a lot of different opinions about it, but what were your thoughts on your freshman dorms? Like, what dorm did you stay in, and what were your general, I guess, experiences that first 2 semesters?
So my dorm was called Morewood E Tower. Uh, it was probably the best dorm on campus. So I got lucky with that one. Um, I think the dorms in general are not that bad. Each dorm generally has one bad thing about it. Like there's the one insect dorm, there's the one weed smoker dorm, there's all kinds of things, but the E Tower generally doesn't have anything wrong with it. So my first 2 semesters were pretty good. All the other guys on my floor were also pretty chill. So it was okay. I know some people who have definitely not had good experiences with their dorms. It's kind of just up to chance, I think. Yeah.
Was it like how many roommates did you have, or was it an individual, or just like shared bathroom, stuff like that?
Yeah, so it's pretty much all doubles for the first year dorms, and it's mostly communal bathrooms. So each floor shares one entire bathroom area. Yeah, that can be uncomfortable for people, but you get used to it.
Yeah. And I feel like any college you go to, you'll have to get used to it because that's pretty much how it's going to be.
Yeah.
My personal experience was like, I mentioned there's like one thing wrong with every dorm, like the weed smoker dorm, the rats dorm, the cockroaches dorm. My dorm was basically you took all of those and put them into one. And then that was the dorm that I got.
Hmm.
Not a great experience, but
Hmm.
it's fun. It's a fun time.
Yeah.
I guess how long do you have to stay at the dorms, by the way? Is it like you're mandatory for like 2 years or 1 year, or can you just move out once you're done with like your first 2 semesters?
Yeah, it's only the first year that it's mandatory. Um, Although one thing that I would say is because rent prices in Pittsburgh have been skyrocketing over the last like 3 years, there have been a lot more people, including me, who are just staying on campus just because it's really just not worth it to go off campus. But yeah, that's up to each person to choose.
Are there actually enough dorms to handle everyone on campus?
I don't think so. I mean, like if everyone decided to stay on campus, I don't think that would work out. Uh, but I think I don't know very many seniors who are on campus. I think the vast majority of them are off. So I think maybe CMU could handle like 3/4 of the class, maybe.
Because like in terms of like freshman class, do you feel like the freshman class is sort of getting bigger year and year, or is it like sort of they're maintaining a constant pool of people coming in and out?
I think you can probably find the numbers for that online. I don't know. I think my year was definitely big. Um, I know that they had to add an extra section to some of the intro math and CS courses just to account for those people. I don't know what the general trend is though.
Yeah, because they've been putting some people in like hotels for us because they don't have the infrastructure for this many students. They're just letting people in, which
Wow.
is yeah, it's not the greatest for people coming in new, but for people who already leave the dorms, it's a nice experience.
Hmm.
All right, there's a few more questions. Let's see. It's probably leaving mine. So, I guess when you were applying to I guess to CMU in general, was it sort of you applied for math and then you chose that major first, like the you chose your computer science double major?
Yeah. So to do a CS major, there's basically three things you can do. You can apply straight for the CS school and just get in and has that and have that as your primary major, or you can apply to some other major and then double major in CS, or you can get into some other school and then transfer into CS. Um, a lot of people want to transfer, and the vast majority of them cannot transfer. They just don't let you transfer. I think it's like 2% of people who apply actually get in. And I think the reason why is because they know that lots of people want to get into the CS school, and they are afraid that people, as opposed to just applying, will try to get into like a humanities major and then just switch in. So to do that, they are very selective with transfers as well. When it comes to doing a double major, that's easier. You do have to maintain, I think, a 3.5 GPA to be able to do that double major. So they are like restrictive in that way. But besides that, there's really no other restrictions on a double major in CS. So that's the easiest option.
Interesting. I guess how many other what are some of the other colleges that they have there besides like the sciences one and the CS one?
So there's the Dietrich School of Humanities and Social Sciences. There's the Drama School. There's the Art School. Is that? I think there's one more. Oh, there is the Engineering School. I think it's 6, maybe. I might be missing one.
Is there like a business school there too?
Oh yeah, of course, business school. How did I forget? Yeah.
Of course, there has to be business school at everyone.
Yeah. So business school is quite good actually. Yeah.
Really? Yeah. How big is the campus in general? Like, is it a type of campus where you have to like drive around to get to areas, or you just walk to classes mainly?
Yeah, it's pretty small. You can walk pretty much everywhere. To walk from one corner of the campus to the other is, if you walk quickly-ish, it's like 15 minutes. So it's really not that bad. Although the times between classes are also 10 minutes. So you do have to get around quickly. But yeah.
So like the blocks, the way they schedule the blocks have 10 minutes between classes?
Yeah.
Interesting. Is there buses or anything for like people who really can't make it, like walk that fast?
No, I mean the whole campus is basically one big rectangle, and so there's no place for buses to really go. Like you just
it's just all like walking?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it like a nice campus? Like, do you really like the sort of atmosphere there?
Yeah, there's lots of greenery. There's lots of open fields where when it's warm, people go out to play or just hang out. It's a nice place to just be.
Was that like one of the things that made you choose that sort of area, like choose Carnegie Mellon? It was just like, hold on, I'm in Carnegie Mellon. Then okay, the campus is nice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I was in the mindset of thinking about how a school physically looks when applying. I was just desperate to just get in somewhere. But yeah, I mean, it definitely is a perk.
Yeah. How is it nestled like within the Pittsburgh area, or is it sort of like outside the city limits?
Yeah, if you take a bus ride like 15 minutes down, you'll end up in like downtown Pittsburgh. But the area itself is not in the city. It's pretty quiet and safe. Yeah.
Quiet and safe, those the two key things.
Yeah.
All right. Ooh, food. That's a good one. How is the sort of dining at CMU, this dining hall situation, all the food and everything like that?
So the biggest thing about CMU dining is that there's no dining hall, which always surprises people when they come. There is no dining hall. Basically, the way it works is that there's a bunch of different like restaurants across campus, and you just go to one. They have usually a small ordering area, a small seating area. It's just like a restaurant, or like a cafe kind of, and you just get something from there. And so we have, I think, maybe 15 different places of the varying sizes and the menus. And so yeah, there are some which are more convenient to go to for some people. I tend to frequent like 3 of them just because they're close by to where I have been living. But yeah, that's how the time
Are there like meals? Do you use like meal swipes for that, or how's this sort of like situation with that? Like, I know for a dining hall, you're just like meal swipe. All right, you can go eat. What's the situation like for that?
Yeah, so each place accepts meal swipes or cash or card. Yeah, they're all kind of synchronized so that it's like a dining hall that's split into a bunch of different places. They're all pretty much the same in the payment respect. Yeah.
Is the food actually good though?
In some places.
In some places?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people have extremely varying standards when it comes to food. I've seen some people who just hate everything. I have pretty low standards, so I like most of the food. But yeah, it's just up to you. I think you can definitely find something that you like if you
Are
look
there
at
any
it.
like are there like name brand sort of restaurants, like chain restaurants, or is it just all like CMU specific type things?
It's mostly CMU specific. There are a few which I didn't even know they were chain brands because they're not very popular, but they are. Like there's this one place, Aubon Pain, Aubon Pon. It's French. I don't know how to pronounce French, but it's a place that I thought was only at CMU, but apparently it is in like New York City, I think. Um, yeah, and
I don't
some
think French people know how to pronounce French either, so I don't think you're worrying about that.
yeah.
Are there actually, speaking of French people, are there a lot of international students at CMU, or is it?
Yeah, it's mostly international Asian students, um, or Indian students. Uh, yeah, there are quite a few of them. I don't know what the numbers are, but there are quite a few.
Do you feel like when you're sort of interacting with people in your classes and stuff like that, it tends to be like international students, or does it tend to be people from your major, or is it just you just end up with a group of friends from a bunch of different areas?
Yeah, I've found that the people who I naturally talked to and like became friends with in my first year were mostly math majors, just because we see each other in classes. As I started to meet people in clubs and such, I found people who were studying like tangential things, maybe like electrical engineering or CS. But generally, I mean, like for someone like me who doesn't really go out and meet people through parties all that much, my friends are usually studying similar things as me.
Interesting. Good to know. All right, hold on. We're gonna take a break and look at some of these other questions in
Yeah, yeah.
chat. Uh,
Okay. Which
classics.
majors are the most competitive? Wait, is that the one I was on?
Yeah, we'll go with that one.
Okay. Yeah. So definitely CS. I think the department has less than 5% acceptance rate. I also think these numbers are online, so you can find the like specific acceptance rate for each college. Um, yeah, so definitely CS. Also, anything in the College of Science, math, physics, biochemistry are also competitive. Some of the humanities colleges and the drama school are somewhat less competitive, but everything's competitive,
Yeah,
basically.
it is CMU. I guess we can combine a few of these into one question. I guess, what are some things that you feel like helped you on your application? It's the classic question that you probably wouldn't know you're gonna get, but
Yeah, I think the one thing which is most underrated is just the essays. They really do care about the essays and about what kind of person you are. Um, because lots of people who apply have really high SAT scores, GPAs, whatever. I think just writing as best as you can and just like conveying yourself as a person is definitely the most important thing for any major.
I agree with that because everyone's either gonna have the stats or not. But in the end, even the people with the stats still like have to try to apply to get in. So the essays are key, I would say. Um, Actually, do you know if there's a way to double major in computer science and computer engineering? Or I guess to add on to that, what are some, I guess, common double majors you see there, if there are any sort of trends with that?
Yeah, so you can double major in anything you want. I've seen people, major in like creative writing and then do a CS double. You can do anything you want. There's really no restrictions, I think. Um, I think most commonly you'll see people doing some STEM field plus CS. People just really like having that CS thing on their resume, I guess. I don't know. But yeah,
I mean,
you
it's like you're at CMU, so might as well.
might as well. Yeah.
Can you switch majors easily?
It depends on which major. Um, I know from like the Mellon College of Science, in your first year, if you want to switch between any of the four sciences, that's very easy. They will allow you to do that. After the first year, I think it gets harder just because you've already taken a certain number of classes which are specific to that major. But yeah, in the first year, they try to have you take more of the gen ed classes so that you don't lose too much if you switch majors. But yeah, again, as I said earlier, if you want to switch into like CS, you probably won't be able to. Um, I don't know how it is for the humanities courses, but I imagine it's not that hard for those majors either.
Yes. Have you seen any like drama CS double majors? Is that a thing there?
I know one person who's a drama and an AI robotics major. Uh, I saw them in a play they were in. They were very good. Um, yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of people doing all kinds of cool things. Yeah,
So like, AI robotics is an actual like major?
yeah. I forgot what it's called. I think it's an AI major with a concentration in robotics. I think
Huh.
we do have an AI major. I'm pretty sure.
I didn't know that. That's actually pretty cool. I assume that's probably bumping right now too with all the different things that's going on.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a pause from the questions for now. And I guess what are I don't know, I'll first ask about this. Do you like being so close to Pittsburgh, you said it was like a 15-minute bus ride. Do you usually go down to Pittsburgh for like weekends or doing stuff with doing stuff with friends or maybe even like Philly or something like that?
Yeah, definitely. In my first year, I definitely explored a lot. Um, the buses, by the way, are free for CMU students, which is very nice. You can just go whenever you want. There are lots of cool things to do um, in the downtown Pittsburgh area, and there's lots of nice places to eat. So yeah, I think it's definitely open to be explored. There's definitely stuff to do there.
I guess like you said you weren't much of like the party type of person. So in terms of things you sort of do for fun, what are some of the I guess highlights or most fun things you've done that you sort of want to show that there is to do around the CMU area?
Hmm. I mean, there's lots of okay. So I like museums a lot, and there's a lot of art museums. Andy Warhol, I'm not sure if you know him.
Yeah.
He yeah he's a CMU graduate, so his Andy Warhol museum is close by. It's like walking distance. So there's lots of galleries and museums there. There's an ice skating rink which I've been to a few times. That's fun.
Are
I
you good at it?
no, I'm still bad at it, which is so sad. But yeah, yeah, and then there's lots of clubs as well, and lots of the clubs have like extra activities. Like they just do things on their own time. Like they maybe go out to eat together or just do something fun. So yeah,
What are I guess some of the clubs that you're in? And if you want to talk a little bit about them.
yeah. So I was in the Taekwondo club. I'm not anymore, but I was. Um, I'm in the data science club and the math club. Those are the three which I mainly am in. In terms of what they do, the data science club is pretty interesting. They have certain workshops to teach you about things, and they also allow you to team up with other students to work on data science challenges and just learn skills. So that's cool. You get to work with other people and kind of share knowledge. Um, the math club is really nice. It's like a partially school organized club and partially student led club. There are lots of talks from professors which they bring around to just talk about their research. You get to work on things with other people. If you're interested in doing any research, you can probably find some opportunities there. There's just lots of cool things that they do.
Is there like I know a lot of people who apply to CMU are into like the AIME, like the sort of competitive math scene. Does a math club do any stuff with that? Like sort of competitive math side of things or a separate club?
Um, Not really. There is no kind of, so there is the CMIMC, which is the Carnegie Mellon Informatics and Mathematics competition, which we hold for high school students. So if you, I actually helped write problems for that one once. It's just a competition math thing for high school students. So if you want to like be on the other side of one of those things, it's cool to try out. And also for people who want to continue doing competition math, there is the Putnam exam, which
Oh, no.
yeah. Have you ever taken that one? Have you tried?
I've tried. I've taken a look at some of those questions. No.
Yeah. We have this one course which is led by Po-Shin Lo, who is a really, really great math lecturer teacher. We are very lucky to have him at CMU. So he teaches this Putnam seminar course, which teaches you a lot of the nice foundational concepts, which will help you on that competition math exam. The Putnam, if you haven't heard of it, it's a 6-hour exam, 12 questions, really hard. I think it's out of 120 points, and the average score I think is 1 point out of 120. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, you can definitely do that. There's lots of competition math stuff that Po-Shin Lo does.
Have you ever tried the Putnam?
Yeah, I did, and I can very proudly say I got 4 points, so I'm above average.
Double my score. I got a 2.
Oh,
Struggle. I guess. All right. There's some more questions.
yeah.
Is there a data science like minor or sort of like a focused sort of major minor about data science, or is that sort of just a concentration you do within CS or math?
Yeah, no, there is a data science master's. For undergraduate, there really is no data science specific field. It's kind of just certain concentrations. Like my combination of majors is probably the closest thing you can get to doing data science. I have a statistics concentration in math, and I'm doing CS. So that's, I think, as close as you can get to directly doing data science.
Yeah, definitely. I guess, are you in any internships? If you want to talk about what's going on with you right now?
Sure. Yeah, so I'm currently interning at Ascot Insurance. It's based in like New York. I have a business analyst and a data analyst role. So it's a lot of Excel work because that's unfortunately a lot of what data analysis is in the business world for the most part. And I help out with IT systems as well. So yeah. Also, I think there was a question which we may have skipped.
Oh, hold on. Which one was that?
How good is the business school?
Yeah. How good is the business school at Carnegie Mellon?
I have no idea. That's my honest answer. I don't really know much about it. I know that a lot of people, do definitely like there are lots of successful graduates from that school. I don't know anything about the specifics. I haven't taken any business courses there, but they do have the nicest like building on campus.
Really?
Yeah, the architecture looks really cool. If you want to look it up, it's called the Tepper School of Business. Looks very cool.
Okay, this is pretty sick. Okay, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's a thing. Like our business school is also probably our nicest looking building too, but I think it's a scam, honestly. I guess I just got a question. What is your? I know you talked about your favorite classes and stuff like that. What is, if you have taken any, your favorite non-major related class you've taken, or at least that you've like maybe somebody you saw when you're registering for a course, like dang, that'd be pretty interesting to take.
So actually, one class which I did take in my freshman year, it was a class on evolution. It was to fill my like biological sciences requirement. I looked through all the biology courses, just trying to find the one I thought would be the most tolerable, because I generally don't like biology. But that course was actually very interesting, and I still remember a lot of what I learned from it. So that was definitely a cool course.
I would say I have to agree. I don't know. This is kind of scary, but I also had to take a bio. Like we had to take like science courses, and I got out most of it with physics, but I still needed like a little bit of a credit. So I took a course called the biology of sex and death, which is like very similar vein to the evolution side of things. And that was also a very cool course to take. Although for me, my first 2 semesters at Georgia Tech, I think I took 2 CS courses total. The rest was entirely just gen eds. So I wasn't really a CS major until like the 3rd semester. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. Okay, another one that I just got sent with the private chat is, how far is the commute to the airport, I guess?
Oh, yeah. So we have a bus station which goes basically directly to the airport. There's a like specific bus called the Airport Flyer, which just goes straight to and from the airport. It's around 50 minutes, I think, just about an hour, by bus. If you want to take an Uber, it can be a bit faster maybe, but it costs more. So yeah.
Do you often come home being so close, or do you like tend to just stay at college more often?
Yeah, I come back generally once in the middle of the semester during our fall or a spring break, and then once at the end of the semester, of course. So yeah.
How long is your winter break? Because I have a gripe about this.
Ours is one week. So
1 week?
5 days plus the two and 2 weekend days. Yeah. So
okay, yeah, I can't even say anything about that. I was about to say, like, most people have like, they say like a month or like 5 weeks or something like that. But no, ours is pretty similar. Do you have do you have a lot of breaks then? Like, if your winter break is just 1 week?
Yeah, no, so we have 1 week of a fall break as well. I don't think most schools have that. Maybe.
Okay. Yeah, no, we don't have that.
Yeah, it's the same length as the spring break one, or as the winter break one. And also, I think our summer break is longer than most. I think I get home a week before most people do.
When summer start and end?
It starts kind of like early May, like our finals week. Hold on, I'm checking my calendar. Yeah, our finals week is the first week of May. So for this year, May 5th was basically our last day.
Damn, that's actually the same as us. Yeah, I've never met anyone else who's had the same sort of end date as us. Usually it's like May 20th, May 15th-ish. Damn. Okay, wait. Another question. What extracurriculars did you guys put on your resume? Applying to college, I guess, is the end part of that.
I have to remember, actually.
Yeah.
I think I put some of my volunteer experience that I had done, like for NHS and stuff. Is that still a thing? I mean, people are still.
I think that's still a thing. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay. Yeah, and then yeah, if you do any like after school club or activity, I did marching band, so I definitely put that on my resume. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have most of those things now, because once you get far enough into college, you can kind of like replace those high school things with more college things. But for early on, if you're applying to things in high school or in your first year of college, just try to just think of whatever you did in high school and just put that on.
Yeah. For me, I guess it was pretty much a similar thing. Just like whatever I did after school and like this sort of Vegas Navigator thing were the main things that I put on there. I unfortunately left marching band, sadly.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Hmm.
So sad. Uh, do you continue playing percussion now, or is it sort of like weaned off?
Yeah, I don't. I like looked into CMU's marching band. They're just really bad, so I just did not want to join them. Yeah,
Are there
I watched
sports
one of their
teams?
practice. Yeah, there are sports teams. They're also pretty bad. Um, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. You don't go to CMU to play
to
sports.
play
I'll
sports.
just say that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah. I think for me, I mean, after I left marching band, obviously I stopped playing percussion for a while, but I did just last semester buy a drum set, like an electric drum set,
Mm.
to try to learn it because I basically I went to a metal concert. I got like dragged into
Oh.
going to a metal concert,
Mm.
and so I was like, that looks kind of fun. And never learned to play drum set in like the 10 years we played percussion
Mm.
because I don't know, it'd always be like, you usually playing the drums or something like that. So I've been starting.
Nice, nice.
Um, what's another one? Do you? How far is I guess? How far is Philly from Pittsburgh? Like in terms of, like, do you guys ever organize trips to like Philly or anything like that, or any
No,
neighboring areas?
I mean, like Philly is way too far. I think it's what, like 3.5 hours if you
Okay.
drive. Yeah, I mean, like Philly is closer to my home in Jersey than it is to Pittsburgh, which
Oh,
is
okay.
kind of strange. But yeah, um, yeah, we there have. I mean, if clubs organize trips to somewhere, it'll normally be very close by. Like there's this amusement park called Kennywood, which is nice. Um, when yeah.
Is it like a water park or like a Six Flag type?
Um, I don't actually know. I haven't been,
You
but
haven't been?
yeah. So a
Really
funny
not.
story. I was planning to go, and then the weekend before I was planning to go, there was a shooting there, and I was like, maybe I'll just won't go.
Maybe
So
I won't.
yeah.
Unfortunate. I mean, I say that, but there's a Six Flags like 10 miles from Georgia Tech, and I haven't been there ever either.
Hmm.
So I can't really call you out on that. Let's see. Oh, oh, this is an interesting one. Do you um do people like I was talking to someone from another college before, and I was talking about the food and stuff with them as well. And the big thing that I noticed was uh, after they left the freshman dorms, they said that the there wasn't really any grocery stores in the area, so they'd have mostly DoorDash and Uber Eats and food like that. So now that are you moved out of your apartment, or are you still in the college dorms right now when you go back to the semester?
For this upcoming semester, I am living in an apartment style housing. It's technically a dorm, so it's owned by CMU, but it is like an apartment style.
Do you plan on cooking yourself there, or do you plan on
Yes.
ordering food?
I
You
mean,
cook yourself?
I won't be only cooking. I'll be cooking maybe a third to half of my meals just to kind of warm up, I guess. But yeah,
Are you living with any like roommates, or is it by yourself?
yeah. The one roommate who I've had for this year as well will also be living there.
Are you would you say you're a good cook, or
I am getting better. I've been practicing over the summer. Uh, I'm not good yet, but I'm not
you're
a
getting there?
hazard. Yeah,
You're not a
I'm
hazard.
not a hazard. Yeah.
No, I can. I had a roommate. Honestly, I could say he was a hazard. That's pretty safe to say. Hazard. Did you participate in any math or CS competitions during high school?
Yeah, so this is the place where I would say personally, I kind of fell behind my my peers in this. I didn't really. There were like maybe one or two hackathons, which I did. You should do hackathons if you have the opportunity to. CMU also has some nice ones. In terms of math competitions, I didn't really do any. Um, some of the more classic ones, like the AMC, my high school didn't offer. Um, I think, or unless I
Yeah,
just
no,
wasn't trying to do it.
I don't think we did.
Yeah. So I didn't really even know that those existed. So yeah, if you're interested in them genuinely, like go ahead. But if you're looking to do them just to get into a school, I would say maybe reconsider. I don't think it'll help you all that much.
Yeah, I would say like the only reason you should really be going into those is just if you actually like doing them. Like there's if you do like doing them, there's obviously there's hackathons, there's so many different names. Is it AMC for high school?
Yeah.
AMC, the International Olympiads also like the USACO, USAMO, whatever those are called.
Yeah.
Those are also pretty cool ones if you're really into it. I tried doing the USACO, but I was never really that good at it, and so I never really got far in it. But I would say if you're really interested in them and that's the sort of thing you want to go into, then only you should really push towards those because there's a lot of time commitment, and you're just going to be like burnt out or bored out of your mind if you do.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see. Any questions? Oh, can you talk more about your essay? What essays did Carnegie Mellon actually have?
I don't know if they change it, but the ones which we had to do. So actually, CMU had us write 3 essays in addition to the Common App. All of them are very short. I think like 250 words.
Seems right.
Yeah, I think
there was a YCMU. I guess that's probably one of the big ones. Like, what were some of the things that you would consider talking about when you're talking about like why do you want to go to CMU or for your major or something like that?
Yeah, so I think the key thing when it comes to writing essays is just to think about how everyone else is thinking about it and then not think in that way. Because everyone will talk about how great CMU is and how great everything is, and they'll find things online about it. I think just try to dig into a specific about something, actually do your research, and just find something you like. I wish I could remember what I talked about, but I don't know if I can.
I honestly can't remember either, but I know that was the sort of approach I took for most of my essays as well. Sort of trying to psych out the rest of the people that were applying there. So like, if I thought, hold on, let me just look up the AI professors and list one of their names as like I want to meet him, then everyone else is going to think like that.
Yeah.
Let me just not do that. And pretty successful approach, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's most of all the questions that I got in PM and everything like that. So
Yeah,
anyone has any questions?
There is one more that just showed up. Yeah, well, when did I start applying to internships? In my freshman year, going into my freshman summer, I didn't really know what I wanted to do exactly. So I started, I think, like October, which is a little bit late. It's so strange to me how early they do this internship application stuff. But for this upcoming summer in 24, I've already started, just because it starts very early for some places. So I think starting just as early as you can. If you find a company which doesn't have a position open yet, just mark it down and then check back later just to see if they've opened something. Just start as early as you can. It can't hurt you to do it early. So
yeah, I would say pretty similar vein for me. I through our high school I'd done like the Bloomberg thing, but in terms of actually applying for internships in college, I started around October as well. And at least that first year for us, that worked out. I mean, not worked out, but like it was a lot better than it would have been this year. Because this year, even applying like as early as like August or something like that, people weren't even getting anything. They applied in like July. And so I would say applying as early as possible is definitely a key thing. And if you're in high school as well, there's a bunch of summer programs and everything like that available. Not internships, because a lot of places don't offer those, but just looking at summer programs, I don't know, use HS Navigator. That's why we're here. Gotta plug that. But yeah, just look for summer programs and stuff that you're really interested in. Instead of trying to look for like internships or trying to get that stuff in your resume, try to actually figure out what you want to do, because you probably don't have a really good idea of what you actually want to do. And yeah, and then once you go into college, you start building up your experience. Then you can start looking at internships and go as early as possible and stay organized. Like make a spreadsheet. It's not lame to make a spreadsheet. Just actually organize everything else. That's a pretty key thing too.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much all the questions that we had. So thank you so much, Ayush, for coming out here. It was great getting to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And if anyone has any questions to sort of ask him, you can email me probably, and I can relay them or anything like that. But I think that should be it for today. And if anyone wants to join in, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yep.
All right. Have a good one.
Yep, you too.